Greetings everyone. Today we're going to explore the distributive property and combining like terms. First, let's go through a few definitions. The word distribute means to give out or hand out. So it's a real-world definition. Just like if you were to distribute Halloween candy, you're giving or you're handing out. The difference now is we're going to distribute a number or a letter. Term. A term is a number, a variable, or the product of one or more variables. So that could look like just the number 2. That could look like the variable of just x. Or it could look like the product of those, so 2x. These are all examples of terms. Coefficient. Coefficient is the number in front of a term. So if I have that 2x again, the coefficient would be 2. Or if I have something like 5xyz, my coefficient would be 5. Let's take a look at how we can do some simple distribution. If we take a look at this first example, the A is multiplied by the B, and then the A is also multiplied by the C. Notice the sign stayed the same. So let's try that with numbers. That means the 3 is going to be multiplied by the 10, and the 3 is going to be multiplied by the 4. What about if the value is on the right side? Well, it doesn't change anything. That A is affecting the whole parenthesis. So I'm going to take A times B, and I'm going to take A times C. So let's take a look here. 7 times 5. Well, if the 5's already there, let's fill in a 7. Remember that multiplication is commutative. So the order in which we multiply doesn't matter. Then I have 7 times 3. 3 times 7. So make sure that whatever value's in parentheses, it receives or is multiplied by the number on the outside. So let's try again. What if there's a subtraction sign? Guess what? It doesn't change anything. I'm still going to distribute that value in, but I just keep the signs. So 9 times 8 minus 9 times 2. If it's flipped around, the same still applies. We have to do the sign work. So I have B times A and C times A. So in this case, 28 times 4, or 4 times 28, remember that's okay, and 4 times 6. So let's work on some examples. If you have a handout from class, you probably have this available to fill in. So the number on the outside. So this is, let's think Halloween themed. This is the homeowner, and they need to distribute candy to this kid and to this kid, or to every kid that comes to the door. So I have a 4 being distributed to an X. Remember, it's being multiplied, so maybe put dots by those arrows. That might be a helpful reminder. There's a plus sign, and the 4 is going to be multiplied by the 5. Now we want to simplify what we can. So the 4x is just going to come down. I can't do anything, but with our simple operations, I can take care of 4 times 5. Let's take a look at example 2. Now this value is on the right side. We still want to follow the same steps. We've got some signs we need to watch out for. Look at that subtraction and the negative. So first of all, I have negative 6 times 4b. And then I also have negative 6 times negative 1. See how I have those two negatives there? So let's work on the first step. Negative 6 times positive 4. We can multiply unlike terms. So a negative times a positive is a negative. 6 times 4, 24, and I still have the b value. Then in green, I have a negative 6 times a negative 1. A negative times a negative is positive. So here's where those sign rules from our previous notes are really going to come in handy, right? Positive times positive equals positive. Negative times negative equals positive. Positive times negative is negative, and negative times positive is negative. So that's true for multiplying and dividing, so you still have to remember this. Ooh, let's take a look at example 3. This one looks a little weird. On the outside, I just have a negative. So remember the identity property of multiplication? The identity property of multiplication says that I can multiply by 1 and I still get the same value back out. I didn't change the identity. So here I don't want to change the identity, but I do have a negative. So I'm going to put a 1 in front of the parentheses because I feel like I need something to think about as far as a number. All right, so the negative needs a number. I'm going to give it a 1 because I can with the identity property. So let's distribute. A negative 1 times 3m and a negative 1 times negative 4n. I'm going to write it out first and then simplify. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3, and we'll just keep the letter there. Negative 1 times negative 4, a negative times a negative is a positive, so I have a positive 4n. All right, do you see how those separate colors kind of help? So maybe if you don't have colors, maybe consider writing them a little bit separate until you get to your final simplification. Let's go over just 2 more definitions. Let's talk about a constant. A constant is a term that's just a number, so just a 2 or a negative 5. Like terms, here's what's going to be new for you. Like terms have exactly the same variable and exponent. So some examples, like terms. A 2x and a 5x are like terms. Same variable with the same exponent. Ooh, let's take a look at this. 2x and 4y. Those are not like terms because they have different letters. Let's see, 5yz and 8yz. Those are like terms because they have the same letters. And let's take a look. If I have a 2x and a 3x squared, not like terms because they have different exponents. So let's see which like terms we can add or subtract together. Now here's where I'm going to use colors, but I'm also going to use lines, and I strongly recommend that you try this strategy. So if I look at the first one, it has a single x. So I'm going to look through my entire list for the other single x, and I'm going to underline it, including its sign. Now I'm going to use a different color, but if you don't have a different color, the next term has a y, so I'm going to do 2 lines. Well, let's keep going. Here's a y. It's going to get 2 lines. Let's look at z. So 7z, I'm going to use 3 lines, and this z, I'm going to do 3 lines. See how it makes it easier to put those together? So let's combine. If I have 3x minus 2x, well, 3x's minus 2x leaves me with 1x. Let's look at our 2 lines. That's a positive 4y minus 5y. Ooh, if you're going to keep change on this one, it would be 4y plus negative 5y. Or if you use a number line, we would arrive at negative 1y. And the 3 lines, my z values, I have a positive 7z plus 2z, all positives. That makes it easier. 9z. Now I need a symbol because technically we are adding and subtracting all of these terms. So for our final answer, we have 1x minus 1y plus 9z. Take a look at another one here. I'm going to use the lines, but I'm going to use all the same color. So this is going to look more like what you might write. So I have a negative x, I have a positive 2x, I have a positive 2. Ooh, so just a number. Well, here's just a number. I have a negative 1y, negative 4y. I have a positive z and a positive 6z. See how it makes it easier to look at? So if I have a negative x plus 2x, technically I could put a 1 here, identity property. That gets me to 1x. All right, let's take a look at our numbers. I have a positive 2 and a minus 5. If I have 2 minus 5, I could keep change if I need to. It's going to be negative, and the difference is 3. Let's take a look at my y's. And you don't have to draw these extra lines. If you can see the 3 underlined and do that mentally, I'm okay with that, but I'm going to provide a visual just to make sure we understand. So I have a negative 1y minus 4y, or negative 1y plus negative 4y. Ooh, that means it's going to be negative, and I'm going to have 5y. And my z values, or the 4 underlines. I have a 1z plus a 6z. Those are always easier. Positive 7z. So again, if you're a color person, that would be really helpful. But if you're not a color person, then consider drawing those lines to make the information easier to see. All right, but now we're going to combine both ideas. We are going to first distribute, and we're going to combine like terms. We want to go in order. So the first thing, I'm going to use colors for this. I need to distribute. So I have 6 times y, and I have 6 times 5, all positive. I also have, ooh, be careful, this is a negative 3 times 4, and it's a negative 3 times positive 2. All right, let's simplify those down. 6 times y is 6y, nothing special there. Positive 6 times positive 5 is positive 30. Negative 3 times positive 4 is negative 12. Keep the y. And a negative 3 times positive 2 is a negative 6. Okay, so all we've done so far is distribute. But now I've got like terms. So let's combine like terms. I have 6y and negative 12y. 6 minus 12, or 6y plus negative 12, would be a negative 6y. And I have positive 30, negative 6. Positive 30 minus 6 is positive 24. So in this step, what we did is we combined like terms. All right, so you're not going to have a single pretty little answer. You're still going to have something that has multiple terms, and that's okay. But we want to get rid of any parentheses, and we want to combine any like terms. All right, so we've worked on distributing and combining like terms. A few things as always, make sure you check out Google Classroom. What other tasks do you have to do to complete, to catch up, to work on? And as always, check Power School. What are you missing? What do we need to do to improve our grade or be caught up? If you have any questions, please let me know. Okay, that's what I'm here to do, is to help you out. So until next time, I hope you have a good one.